We're off. Where'd you get your jeans? Next.
I love a little bit of Next, but it's not there anymore. There used to be the one in Calcott where I go to the gym.
Oh yeah.
But they changed it to B&M.
Have you grown into Next, or have you always been to Next? I feel like Next is something where
you go through different phases, don't you? I had like the old super skinny fit H&M. I think H&M jeans.
Yeah.
Like the super like spray on skinny.
Spray on skinny.
Yeah, they were the ones I had initially.
Yeah.
But I just like the Next. These are the slim fit. And I'm back to like 32 waist now. I always classed myself as a 33 waist. Obviously, it's not such thing.
Yeah, that in between.
Yeah, 32 is just a little bit tight. 34 is just a bit too big.
Yeah.
But now I'm back down. Now I've slimmed down a little bit. 32.
I've always been a 32, and then a couple of years ago I just got really fat, and when I was putting on 34 trousers, suit trousers, you can always tell.
Yeah. Well, I got to that point where we talked about it last couple of episodes, didn't we? Like, I got fat, and 34s were tight.
That's how you know.
That's when you know you're fucked.
Yeah, that's all good. Anyway, we're back. We're just jumping straight in. I think this is the least prep we've done for a podcast episode, but
we literally this is the start.
I think so. I think let's just go.
Cool. Yeah. And you're gonna go. Welcome to episode. It's your chance for launch day.
Welcome to episode 8. We're back. Welcome to episode 8. We're here, back in my living room, reconfigured for the podcast.
I like the fact we move around a little bit. Like we've done obviously in my house a couple of now. Done most of the episodes here. And obviously we did that one at 2 at HQ, haven't we? The 2 at our head office.
Yeah, 2 at HQ. Good. Bounce around different locations. If you want us to come and do a podcast episode in your living room, we can do that.
It'd be cool if you get a really nice house on the market.
Yeah.
And like, cool. Get the contract signed. I've just got one quick favour. Would I be able to film a podcast in your living room? Because obviously you can imagine a really nice like bifold doors out, this lovely garden.
Yeah.
They'd be like, absolutely fucking not, Ryan.
Or you do it anyway and ask for forgiveness, not for permission, and it's extra content as marketing for the house.
Yeah. We filmed a podcast and then we lost the instruction and I lost like 10 grand. So for our 12, 13 listeners, we've gone up on listeners. You see that?
Yeah, a few more.
If we can get like 2 or 3 listeners extra per episode, then by the time we get to 100 episodes, we'll have like 300 more listeners.
Yeah. Compounding those listeners. So thanks if you're checking in and listening to us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
And actually, that leads me to the fact that we've got our first question from someone on one of our reels.
We also got mugged off on our reel as well, didn't we?
Yeah, saw that. Yeah. But then when I watched it back, I was like, that was a pointless bit of content.
It was ridiculous, yeah. As you're the king of content, it was pretty average by your standards.
It was just
like I got what you were saying because we had this whole thing about your viral TikTok.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and then you cut the clip of us talking about it, and I looked at it, I was like, mate, that's like generally like really. Should we put the little comment up on the screen now?
On a motorway, right? Say you've got 3 lanes.
Yeah.
What do you call them? You've got lanes 1, 2, 3. What do you call them?
Slow lane, middle lane, fast lane.
Yeah. Right.
So who doesn't?
It's a standalone piece of content. It made no sense. So anyway, I've learned from that. I've moved on, and my content will be better going forward.
Cool.
Yeah.
But mugged off treat. But we've got first question.
So I actually my phone's recorded. If it was something along the lines of what do you always think of medical marijuana?
That's random. We've never talked about drugs on the podcast.
Yes, let's talk about drugs. Do we get banned if we talk about drugs online?
I don't know. There must be certain things in the. I heard on a podcast like if you swear within the first 2 minutes, so we're fucked now. But if you swear in the first 2 minutes, like the algorithm doesn't help. But then I also saw like it doesn't help. The algorithm doesn't help you because it kind of puts you to the bottom because it's like explicit content.
I notice when I'm doing the captions on Instagram or something, when I say a cuss word, it beeps it out for me. Oh. So I guess the algorithm can figure out when you're swearing and when you're not. Yeah.
But then I saw a little thing pop up on my I've got a lot of social media influencers, not influencers, wrong thing. Advisors like how to boost your content, how to do these like little hacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And one guy said, "Don't blame yourself. Don't blame the algorithm. The algorithm's is not working. That's me. It's not. It's just your content shit."
Yeah.
But at the same time, algorithms that's what they're there for, isn't it? Like to get you in front of people.
I think with the videos I've had that have gone viral, you can see it does kind of well, and then it just kind of snowballs.
Yeah.
I think the snowball's probably a good analogy.
Yeah. But you must have a certain point to hit before. So your content's got to be good to get into enough living rooms, screens.
Yeah.
And then when you start compounding that, then you start building and then go viral.
Because I always wonder, we have the group where we put our stuff in and we go on and like it and engage with it.
Yeah.
I always wonder if that actually makes any difference, because all of my social media experience tells me it's just watch time.
Yeah.
And Mr. Beast says this as well. It's purely how many people click on your video and how many people watch it to the end. So I always wonder if we just, if you're just scrolling past something and liking something and moving on and not watching it.
Yeah. Is that actually helping at all?
It would probably be more helpful to click on the video and watch it for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because I think the algorithm would, I don't know. But
we discussed that, didn't we, about doing shorter videos to see if that helps with the algorithm.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, there are 3 worst performing videos we've ever done.
But I posted those one after the other.
I know.
So,
and I posted them to the story, and it didn't happen. It didn't work at all. But in TikTok, they were like, we got our first 1,000 view videos on TikTok this week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had 3 go over 1,000.
So
Look at us ballers.
So I don't think TikTok minds. You can post one after the other.
Yeah.
Instagram
Killed
seems to. YouTube Shorts I posted on. I again just banged 3 reels on
See what happens. Yeah.
They
it's all
didn't
about
do
getting
anything.
to know it, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm just experimenting. So yeah,
interesting.
let us know your hacks.
Anyway, back to the question: medical marijuana. I don't really have an opinion on it, so I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Have you been to other countries where you've seen medical marijuana?
I've been to the dam.
Yeah.
It's not medical
Yeah, most
marijuana.
obvious.
That's just smoking marijuana in or smoking cannabis in cafes.
Yeah.
Which is always good fun.
No medical.
I can't touch the stuff now. Since I gave up smoking, 4 years ago. I've had a couple of little puffs on the doobie since then.
Yeah.
Fuck, mate, literally whitey everywhere. I'm just fucking sick. Can't touch it. Can't smell. I love the smell of it. Just can't go near it.
Do you like the smell? I like the smell as well. Yeah. Most people
Smell
hate
pretty potent in some places, can't
it. Yeah, you always get
especially
a whiff
around
when you're
Reading.
about.
But no, I can't do it. But yeah, your views. I have got an opinion. Sorry, I have got an opinion on it, but I want to hear yours first.
I'm intrigued by the whole medical side of it. I mean, I kind of think, I don't know if it should be illegal. I don't know if it's that bad. I don't know. Show me the studies. But the medical things. What was strange is going to New York now and it's legal there. And it was a bit seedy in a way, because you've got seedy's the wrong word, but you've got just marijuana trucks in Times Square. with
selling rolled up.
People just hey man, you want to buy some weed? It was just strange going back to America and that being a thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think if the evidence is there to show that it can help people with, I know a lot of people with chronic pains and illnesses, it helps. That's what it's there for. It's a good idea to help, isn't it?
I think people with MS and stuff,
absolutely. If it's gonna help someone's life and feel better about themselves and genuinely help them, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely should be legal. Absolutely. But is there enough evidence to support that? I haven't done enough research into it, and we're just 2 estate agents in Reading.
Yeah.
We're not professionals, we're not doctors, we ain't got a freaking clue.
So
all we go is what we get fed on social and on the news.
So we're not qualified to comment on medical marijuana specifically.
But the good thing about living in the UK is we're qualified to give our opinion because of free speech.
Because of free speech.
So my view is, if there's enough evidence, even if there's not enough evidence, if someone feels better who's got chronic illness from smoking a bit of weed, fuck me, let them do it. Absolutely, what's the problem?
Well, and I think as well, is there a line to be drawn with drugs? Because I think, what's your opinion on this? Because I'm I know all the stoners weed's just a plant, man. It's just not, and it's yes and no.
Yeah.
But then I think, well, there's definitely a line for me between that and cocaine.
Yeah.
Cocaine is what do they mix it with? Petrol and stuff to make it? It's
it'd be load of shit. You don't know what's going up your nose, do you?
Not at all.
Which is just stupid if you think about it. But yeah, it's a bit of a grey area, isn't it?
It's about as grey as it can be, I think.
Yeah, literally. There's those people on the extreme. I've experimented a few, like most 30-year-olds over the last 10 years.
Lived,
probably,
man. Got some experience.
Grew up in Bracknell, lived in Reading, go to London a lot. experienced stuff. But there's a line you just don't cross. Like hard, dirty drugs. You just wouldn't go there. Like there's nothing that can leap from doing a quick line in the toilet to injecting myself heroin. Like I will never get to that point. There's no way I'll get to that point because I care about myself and my life and my body too much to even go down that route.
I think that's the thing with like, look, where's the proof of medical marijuana? I've seen enough crackheads to know that crack's a bad idea.
Yeah. Like there was obviously still rife in America, isn't it? But there were a few years ago there was that big thing about the dangers of crystal meth, and you see the before. Have you seen the before and after photos?
Yeah,
of some people like
scary.
Oh my god,
scary.
Like, why?
And like when I used to work on the Oxford Road, and like I would meet these people, like in the street, and they were just like,
they just bomb around like normal people.
And they try and when I engaged them was when they'd be trying to sell something, right? So they'd steal some meat or a bottle of something and try and sell it.
Hey broski, you want to buy a bit of meat?
And they were just so like honest about why.
That's very stereotypical. They're not all drug dealers are Russian, by the way, as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a type. You can definitely spot them when you see them. Not by nationality, by general demeanour.
They've got the puffer jacket on and the cap, haven't they?
Yeah, and they were just
no, the puffer gilet. That's the dealer coat of choice, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
With a flat cap and that's it.
They were just so upfront about like, I've stolen this bottle of booze. I'm now going to sell it to you, so I need to go buy some crack.
Yeah.
I had a viewing, in fact, property story. I had a house on the market once, and there was they weren't tenants, but they weren't quite squatters.
Yeah. Okay.
And we had to do viewings in this house. It was derelict,
Yeah.
cash buyers only, and the it was a squatter. Actually, it was a squatter, but he'd agreed that we could do the viewing so long as we paid him £10 a time to go in the flat.
Entrepreneur, legend.
And then the deal was as such that actually just made sense to pay him a tenner so we could show people around.
Yeah.
But that's it, he was negotiating. He wanted 20 and we were a tenner. I can't remember what we agreed on. Yeah. But it was just quite a funny situation, like funding a drug habit just to conduct a property viewing.
I went to turn up to a house valuation in Lower Early in a nice little residential street, 3-bedroom detached house. And I turned up and the guy, I kind of knew that he was a bit dodgy. Like,
How did you know? What were the signs?
He's got a very particular... I can't talk too much about it.
Sure.
Not that he's going to obviously listen or watch, but you never know. But they've got a very particular surname and they're quite famous in the Reading area. So I knew.
So you kind of had an idea of what
I knew of him, and I turned up, and he opened the window first. It's always a sign. Upstairs, hello mate. Hi, I'm Ryan from the estate agent. Come to value a house. Oh yeah, all right mate. Yeah, all right mate. Down. Came down but he answered the door and then took his top off. I remember it vividly. Like, the door's been kicked in as well. Like it's got wood at the front where the plastic's been kicked in. And opened the door with his t-shirt on, and as I walked in, he took his t-shirt off, and we sat down. He had this sofa facing each other. Again, for the audio listeners, you can't see me demonstrating how I'm sat and how the table is, so apologies for that. Go on to YouTube and you can see the whole thing. Little coffee table in front, just covered in cocaine, and he's racking up a line as I've started my valuation, and obviously everything's telling me, just get out of here. Like, why you? Yeah, you don't need this business. Just walk away. But I was just intrigued, and he was a bit of a laugh, to be fair. And he's telling me about his plans and what he's going to do, moving abroad and stuff. And I was great, yeah, absolutely. And he's racking up a line, and he goes, "You want one?" I was like, "Mate, it's fucking 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, bro."
Yeah, all right.
No, I don't. Not I do it. I never do it anyway. So no, I'm not really interested, to be fair. Anyway, signed him up, and then we sold his house.
You actually did sell it. That's so funny.
He did pull out, actually. He pulled out of the transaction, back thinking about it. But anyway, that's a funny story. So I've been a few, but you know it's like working down Oxford Road and places. You walk into some and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, there's just some stories around. And even these people you drive past a bunch of houses every day and you don't realise, what's going on behind those walls.
Yeah. We sold a repossession. I remember selling it in Caversham a few years ago now, and it was an old cannabis farm. Like in this again, little close. I want to say Onslow Gardens, like off the top of like Hemdean Road from memory. But anyway, it was about 10 years ago, and it still had all the foil around the windows, like at the edge of the windows. They cleared it all, but it was a proper cannabis farm. Like every single room had these massive generators in the kitchen where they were using extra power.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of the police guys do. I don't know if it's a myth, but apparently this is how they were found out. But they did obviously the satellite. And you could see the roofs, and you could see this like burning hot house in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a residential street, and that's how they knew it was a cannabis farm. Yes. But like they had all in the loft was all like foiled and like strip lights all the way through. It was pretty cool, to be fair.
I've never seen one in person. We had my first property job. We take on houses, and a guy would renovate them, and then they'd rent them or flip them, whatever. And there was this house gut renovation, including the loft, and it became apparent through the refurbishment that there was a weed farm next door.
Right.
I can't remember what needed to happen, but sent a letter through the letterbox being like, "Hi, you know, this is going on. Like, can we speak to you about it?
Can we do a deal?
Yeah. Can we get
Discount,
get in on the action? Let's open the loft out." There was something that wasn't like, it was just a neighbourly issue. I think it was something to do with a fence in the back or something.
Right. Okay.
Like, sent a letter through the door, no reply. Like, knocked on the door, no reply. It was obvious there was people going in and out of the house. So anyway, kept sending letters, and no one in the house was getting back. You could tell they were growing weed in the loft. Letter after letter, knocked on the door, no one answered. So then we just called in the police, and they got busted.
There you go. Just respond. Things
So
no
it's
one
a
lives
lesson.
there, do they? They just turn up at like random types at like 2:00 in the morning just to check on stuff and then leave. So there's no one. But obviously there will be a registered address.
Yeah.
But it's normally like a company let, and the company's dissolved after they rented it. And
You've got to keep track on your mail. So I think that's, if you're running a weed farm in the UK, make sure you're on your mail, because otherwise...
So we've got a little clickbait title for this episode. Drugs in property. Because they'll be like, ooh.
Yeah.
But actually, generally, we're talking about drugs in properties, not in property.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is rife in the old estate agency lands. Well, it is stereotypical, isn't it? But it is. I've seen it firsthand. So
again, Oxford Road experience. Like, people would come up and be like, "Can you do a long-term let for a weed farm? I'll give you £1,000 cash." Straight up.
Yeah.
All by the way as well.
Oh really?
About
mate, you can't say that. We'll get fucking shanked, mate. Cut that bit out.
Is there any way we can not show this to listeners?
We need all the listeners we can get, but not if they're going to kill us.
Well, I'm just spotting a trend. That's all. I'm just saying.
Cool.
Okay, I'll beat that out.
So let's just go back all the way to the start. Thank you so much for sending in the first question of our podcast in episode 8. I think we really want to get a few more, because I think it's a good bit. We obviously spend time normally researching what we're going to talk about. Not researching, just getting a topic and just going off on a tangent, but having people bring things to the party is quite a nice thing.
Yeah,
we don't really know what we're going to get and what we're going to say about it.
Exactly, and then next thing you know, we're dishing out advice to drug dealers.
Yeah, check your post. Don't bribe certain estate agents.
Have you got any topics?
I've got one. It's very, very fresh in my mind because it happened this morning, which is Friday morning.
Right.
So I've been at my networking meeting this morning, and I got a message. I'll set the picture. So when you buy a house, you obviously have the mortgage valuation done by the mortgage company, and if you're going to get a survey done, 9 times out of 10 you get it done within the first month or so of buying the property, not 2 weeks before exchange of contracts. So when my buyer called me basically we're just getting the final inquiries dealt with and ready to exchange, setting dates for mid-Feb for completion. Absolutely cool, everyone's happy with that. They then said, right, we need to get our surveyor booked in. And I kind of said, right, why haven't you done that 2 months ago when we agreed this sale? Why haven't you done that?
I'd be furious.
And they said, well, obviously they're naive first-time buyers from what I can see.
Yeah.
Well, what I know now. And I'm sure you're the same as the estate agent. You never promote, not that we've got anything to hide, but you never promote the fact to get a survey, because you're getting a mortgage valuation done, great, but you don't say what you're going to get a full survey done. Not because we're trying to hide anything, but there's a risk something could come up and be misinterpreted by the fluffy language, crappy language that surveyors use, when really have no justification for it. I'm sure they're qualified, they are qualified, but it just pisses me off. Anyway, you know where I'm going to go with this, don't you?
100%.
Message today, survey. It's amazing that it's the first floor maisonette built in the 60s, like a solid built house. It's come back with so many issues, and we're supposed I got an email from the solicitor yesterday evening saying pushing for exchange next week, and I've had all these issues rise up. I then asked, as normally, "Oh, do you mind sending me the survey report so I can have a quick through?" And they said no. The surveyor has suggested to keep ourselves separate, that we're not to share the report with anyone, like solicitor or estate agent. And I said, cool. That's the worst advice I've ever heard, because I don't know whose side you think I'm on. I'm on your side here. I want to get paid. I want to get the sale through. I want to help you. How can I help you without knowing what's the issue?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
yeah, conflict of interest, we don't want to send it through to anyone. I was like, cool, I'm not going to be able to negotiate the price for you if you want the price down at this late stage if you don't tell me what the issues are.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
So it all happened literally on the way here, so about an hour ago. And he's agreed to send me through what the issues are, but not the actual report, just on text. And wants to get tradesmen in. I don't know what they're playing at. But the problem is the money, like, everyone's a loser in this instance.
Yeah.
Because the sellers may not get the same price again because the market's dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
Buyers agreed their mortgage in the first week of October. It's literally the week of the mini budget. You know, the market went into crisis where all the mortgage rates were pulled. Mm-hmm. That was Monday afternoon. They submitted their mortgage application Monday morning. Or mortgage offer through Monday morning. So got it through. So their rate is going to be considerably higher now. So they lose out. Seller loses out. I don't understand why they just wouldn't share the report with me. Like, they think, I've worked with for 3 months. They can trust me. They know what I'm not your normal estate agent. I'm not there trying to pull the wool over their eyes. I just want to review it because I'm pretty sure I could deal with half those inquiries myself and say, that's that for that reason. That's what that. You don't need to worry about that.
It's so annoying, mate. And surveys, like you say, the language used in those survey reports is so scary.
I've read survey reports thinking, fuck me, I wouldn't buy that house.
Yeah.
But knowing full well that they're, like, the language they use, they've got to, like, it's just, they've got to protect themselves. And I fully get and respect that. But at the same time, like, I feel, for me, a surveyor just writes a load of waffle and a lot of stuff because they're charging 700 quid for a full structural survey. They feel like they need to justify their price.
Yeah. But what people don't understand is that 700 quid. So the buyer's thinking, oh, I've paid 700 quid for this PDF, I'm not sharing it. What they don't know is that most of that 700 quid is the insurance of a surveyor if anything turns out not to be correct.
I know.
You know, and so people think it's a £700 PDF document that they don't want to share. That's not the case.
So I have no idea what the issues are at the moment, and I'll find out hopefully later today. I then got to break the news to my sellers.
It's the worst.
Talk to them about it.
That
They're
is
expecting to move in the next 2 weeks. Judging by what the buyer was saying in terms of what came up on the survey, without me knowing exactly what it is, because I'm not going to see it, it sounds like they're going to want huge amounts of money off, which the sellers are going to tell them to fuck off, quite rightly so, if we hadn't seen the report.
Yeah.
So, deals off.
Ridiculous. And again, another reason why the process is so horrible, that gap between agreeing the sale and exchange of contracts.
Yeah.
You know, the gap of doom, I'm going to start calling it.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's always bad, but for that survey to come up 2 weeks before exchange.
Yeah, I know.
What I've found with mentioning the survey, like you say, you never want to say it too much. When I started, I was always like, I'm going to be the guy who, you know, not encourages people to get a survey, but I used to say to people, right, any surveys you want done, book them in please within 7 days. And it became really obvious that people don't think about surveys.
Yeah.
Because 8 out of 10 people turn around to me to say, oh, survey, should I get one of those done?
Yeah, like, you're absolutely right.
You know, and then I was like, well, I'm not telling you not to get one done. I'm not a surveyor. I haven't surveyed the house.
Yeah.
You're the one taking out a big loan to buy it. Do you want to do a survey?
Yeah.
I mean, when I bought this house, I didn't do a survey.
No, I didn't as well. I'm going to tell you a story about it in a second, but you're on a roll, so continue.
So I just think, there's a very delicate line to tread there, I think, between like offering a survey as an option.
Yeah.
People should be thinking about it, but then also knowing what you get for your money.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting, what's a home buyer survey, like 300 quid or something, which is just like,
I don't think there should be a place for home buyers. You don't need them because there's no real evidence on them. Everything just says,
it's so stupid.
Refer to this, refer to that, can't check this, can't check that. Structural surveys they're good value for money if they flag up issues, but and the thing is, I said to the buyer, I was like, look, send me the report. I've read hundreds of survey reports. I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm doing. I'm not here to change anything. I just need to know what we're dealing with. And if it comes up saying there is evidence of subsidence in the back court or whatever it may be, needs to be checked by a surveyor, absolutely. Let's get a structural engineer out. 100%. I'm on your side. You're not going to buy it. But it's if you can't share it, then suddenly I start thinking, I'm not saying they're lying, but if they don't tell me about it or won't share it with me, I think, cool, well, it's obviously not that bad, then you're making it up.
Yeah.
They haven't asked for any money off yet, but it's going to be considerable if that's the works, or they'll just pull out.
Do you know what deposit they're putting down?
10%, I'm pretty sure.
So they're putting 10% down. Bank, who's in the deal for 90%, more than happy for the sale to go ahead. But they're 10%, they're nervous about, and the property's going to be insured anyway.
But it's it is worth, I think, it depends on the property. Like, you're not getting a survey on this flying freehold coach house, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd lived in it. I rented it before. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a massive issue because, I should have got a survey on my house. I didn't. I got you've been in my house. Obviously, it's a 70s townhouse. That when I moved in is when the guy came around to do the heating. He's like, the whole of your garage is Artex boarding. Not Artex boarding, asbestos boarding. Not just Artex. I thought it was plasterboard. It's not. It's asbestos.
Oh.
So I had to pay 700 quid to get it removed professionally. Whereas if I got a survey done for 700 quid, I then would have negotiated money off for the asbestos, and the sellers probably would have had to deal with it. But so I could have saved myself money. But then at the end of the day, they could have said, "Well, do you know what? The market's booming. It's gone up 25 grand in price since you made your offer 2 months ago. So we put it back on the market." So swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah. Trouble is, I think people generally are very easily scared. I think the idea of buying a house the day you complete it subsides and you're there with this pile of rubble.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's also why I think people buy new cars. The thought of breaking down is so scary to them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to change my tack though. I've done the same for 15 years. I've always been taught you never push surveys because if a buyer wants to get one done, they get it done early on. Very rarely do they come up last minute. Very rarely. Because most people are not that naive. So I think on that basis, I might not change my tack, but at the same time, I might speak to people when I agree a sale that you need to get your solicitors instructed, get your mortgage application in. Are you planning on booking a survey?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Well, I'm not sure. Okay, cool. Well, make a decision. Yes or no. It needs to be booked in the next 2-3 weeks. Yeah,
I'm going to add to my offer agreed email. If you want to book in a survey, please do so within 7 days.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do, I think.
But because of the flip side, although it is a win-win, why wouldn't you? If you're going to get a survey done, get it done straight away. Because if issues come up and they want to withdraw, fine, we haven't lost that much time on marketing. Flip side, they've committed money, so they're more entitled to stay with the property.
Yeah.
But then on the roundabout way, if you get one done right at the end and you've been waiting all that time and you spent all that money on solicitors and mortgages and everything, whatever it may be, you've got more skin in the game to see that through to the end. So you may be more open to discussion on survey issues.
Yeah, maybe. I think for most people it comes from just a genuine place of nervousness more than it does trying to play silly buggers. But you could read any survey report for any house
and find an issue with
it. And in all my experience, survey reports, if you're looking for a reason not to buy it, you will find one.
Yeah.
If you're looking for stuff that is, you can look past, you will find that as well in the same report. Got
to take a view on some of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
that's the thing that's fucked me off this week. I've had a good week this week, and then that's just really annoyed me massively.
Yeah, so annoying, mate. I feel for you. But
Well, you've obviously had similar issues with buyers, sellers, the process, solicitors, surveyor, basically property.
yeah, the whole thing, the whole shebang. January, I was meant to have 3 deals going through in January, and none of them are for various reasons. And I'm always looking back and thinking, well, at what point could I have done something to, stop this from going this way? And all of these, I'm looking back on it and thinking, well, actually, there's nothing I could have done.
Yeah, like we're estate agents at the end of the day. Like we're there to advise and guide people through the process and influence where we can. But realistically, let's be honest, we've got fuck all power in the process.
Yeah.
The buyers and sellers aren't motivated, and the solicitors are dicks.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do, is there?
The motivation thing's a good point, because I've got this deal which was meant to go through before Christmas, and it didn't. And the buyer is being advised by let's call them a property guru.
Okay.
Which we can have a whole nother talk on. Property gurus.
A buying agent, basically.
Basically, yeah.
An introducer to the property, but not really taking anything from it.
So, and they've asked a bunch of questions about the property. All of them have been delivered. They've told me to jump. I've said how high. I've run around.
Yeah.
We were always going to get it done before Christmas. That was the agreement, and it was possible. They wanted to raise some more questions. We're here in January. Anyway, to the point of motivation, the buyer is just not that motivated. I'm like, what do you need me to do? What questions can I get answered for you? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we've said before, when a buyer and a seller are motivated to get the deal done, things can happen quickly.
Instantly, yeah.
If fingers are on the pulse, solicitors are engaged, things can happen quickly.
Absolutely.
It's a kind of meandering, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, that drives me mad.
Yeah. Or needing to chase solicitor on a Monday to get something done, and you call them on the Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh yeah, I'll get around to it. Like, it should be the first, 9 o'clock on the Monday morning. That should be the call.
Yeah.
Like, you're buying the house, not me. Like, you should care about this more than I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's a good yardstick for if a deal's going to happen or not. I'm always like, if I want this to happen more than the buyer or the seller does, it's doomed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is,
and obviously we're financially incentivized. It's our business at the end of the day. It puts food on our table for our family. If your sales don't go through, we don't get paid.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just feel like the sellers, they've entrusted us to see this through. And as they come back to that point, we don't have any power in the situation. People always think, well, you're the ones that the issues where it's happened. No. Hold your horses. Okay. We have no impact in this whatsoever. All we've done is advise and marry up two parties that want to be together, buyer and seller.
Yeah.
That's what we've done.
Just matchmakers.
Literally. And we use our experience to deal with situations and as I said, to manipulate's the wrong word, but influence how things go, how quickly things move.
I like to say we're the Lube of property transactions.
Yeah, cool. Don't say that ever again.
We're estate agents with a Lube of property transactions, making things happen. Yeah, I've just said it again there straight away.
Oh no, we're just a cog in the wheel.
We are though, but without, you can think of a load of deals you've done which would have died if you hadn't have interjected at the right time.
Absolutely. A lot of estate agents work very hard to get things done, but I do think, as I said, all we do is influence the process, not have any direct involvement. We can't do the legal work. I think we had this conversation before. I know the legal process inside out, back to front, everything. There's not a single thing that I haven't dealt with in estate agency transactions. But if something comes up about a lease or a title, I have an understanding, but I don't know the nitty gritty. That's why you have a solicitor.
Yeah.
And I can't, I can help with people dealing with people's emotions. I can tactfully say things and again influence decisions. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, the buyer and the seller make the decision. I can only chase so much. I can only push so much. Yeah,
absolutely. To that point, how do you feel about solicitors? I think perhaps we've spoken about it before, but this month especially, it's reminded me how bad the links are between estate agents and solicitors.
Yeah.
And I think
it's so important to have a very strong relationship with your solicitor. And the point I use, so I've got two very good firms I work with in Reading. I recommend both of them to obviously buyers and sellers. So 9 times out of 10, one we use one and one we use the other, which is ideal for me because I know I can email them and I know within half an hour I get a call or an email back with an update.
Yeah.
And it might be something so small, but I know them really well. I know them personally. And they've dealt with my transaction for me. So I say to clients, just deal with them. When it's some poxy solicitor up north that doesn't answer the phone, like literally doesn't answer the phone, had a completion yesterday and it got to 11:45 and no money had arrived for the transaction. He's the bottom of the transaction. He starts the process. He's the one sending the money. Called him, no answer. Little number for the blue team. Called that, no answer. It's 11:45 on a Thursday. Like, for surely there's someone available. Just let the phone ring out. Emailed him. To his credit, he did come back to me about half an hour later.
Right.
Just chased my accounts team to get this sorted. It's fucking completion. Like, the money should go out at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Because there's a chain of 4 houses here. Obviously, I wasn't impacted because mine was the first sale, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But that fourth transaction, they might not have got the money through till like 4 or 5 o'clock. They could be sat outside the house, costing their money in removals because the guys are sat there doing nothing. They wouldn't have finished. I know how tough it is moving into a house. They've been there for 5-6 hours.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And it's just because a solicitor just didn't get around to doing stuff. Painful.
There's no wonder the moving process is so stressful. You know, like for all of my 3 clients who, you know, were hoping to complete this month and haven't, you know, that's very real.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, on the one hand, it's like, I'm not getting paid the money I thought I was getting this month, but it's...
that's a byproduct of our success is what we get paid. And I know obviously it's a big emphasis on why we do what we do, but it's not really, like, people think estate agents are money grabbing bastards. Like, we're generally not. Like, obviously I want to get paid, but if I've got enough money in my account to pay my bills and to feed my family for that month ahead, then I'm fine, I'm relaxed. I'm not doing it for the money, I'm doing it just for, I want to get these deals through for my clients. And you just have that inbuilt drive to get things done.
And I think people don't understand from the outside looking in the nuances of what we do.
Yeah.
Like your conversation this morning and the conversations you're going to have later on about the survey. Yeah. That's going to take up, probably 3 hours of your day altogether?
Got a couple of hours. I'm going to have to book all the appointments, be there to let the tradesmen in, if we can get tradesmen to go and see it. The call's going to be a challenging call because I know the people selling it, they're not separating, they're friends, but they're going separate ways. One's buying a house, one's moving in with parents. Like, they're packed up. Like, they're expecting to move in a couple of weeks. If we can get this sorted, it's going to take a few weeks minimum. But I genuinely don't think it'll get sorted.
I think this is why these reservation agreements are going to be so good for us going forward. Yeah. Just because...
Yeah, but then a survey is covered on that. Like, if there's a bad adverse survey, stuff they weren't expecting, it is.
And I suppose there's nothing to stop a buyer, 2 weeks before exchange wanting to do a survey, is there?
No, there's no legal requirement you can do it any time. Obviously, until exchange of contracts, obviously we can do it after exchange. It doesn't make a difference, but
you could write into a reservation agreement, though, couldn't you? Like, if survey's done within 4 weeks.
The thing is, though, like, you'd have to share we had this reservation agreement in place with this buyer, and he said, I'm not going to show you the report. Cool, if you pull out, you're going to have to pay compensation. Well, no, I'm not. Yeah, you are. Unless you share the report with us, we'll take you as lying.
You had a reservation agreement?
No, I didn't. We weren't involved with this company before.
Right, yeah, but that's what I mean, because, the survey report should be shared, right? Because it's...
Absolutely.
It's literally information that affects everybody, which,
It just I've got on really well with this couple, and... as I do with all my clients, I've worked with them for 3 or 4 months now. I've kept them up to date every single week with updates, good chats. We know where we stand. And it felt a little bit like they don't trust me. Yeah. Like, I've never given any impression to any of my clients, but I never give anything like that. I always class myself as open and transparent. I always am. I have this great saying that I can never be caught out with anything because I never lie. I genuinely never lie. Yeah. Ever. In business anyway. Maybe not in personal life.
Yeah, no, you said that before, and absolutely it's right. And all the stuff we do on social media as well. One of the things I love about that is like, right, well, you don't believe me? You can see what I've been doing pretty much every day for the last 4 years by going on my Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not.
That's a quick question actually. So I think that's a fantastic bit of content to do, to talk about the importance if you're going to get a survey done, to get it done at the start of the process. That said, I know for a fact that the sellers of my of this house, of this property, they follow me. They contact me through Facebook to get the house on the market, so I know they follow me. So is it worth doing that content, or just banking that and saving it for another day? Because what I wouldn't want to do is obviously talk to them about their issues and then deal with it, and then next week they see a bit of content popping up. So do you think there's an issue with that, about survey issues?
What about saying about the survey issues?
Yeah.
Well, you've got a real life case going on.
It's a fine line, isn't there?
I think it is a fine line. I think there's what we're saying though is correct, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's
Cool, excellent. Well, that's rant's over, isn't it? You got anything else to rant about?
Do you find that people ask your advice and you can tell that when you give it, they just don't want that advice?
yeah, of course.
Do you find that a lot?
Can you give me your honest opinion?
Yeah.
And you can just see them like, I don't like your honest opinion.
Yeah.
That's always if you ever get asked, give your honest opinion, just think about who you're speaking to.
Yeah.
Because, I think your hair's shit and I think you're overweight. Like, that's not, about your house, sorry. Yeah. It's a shithole.
Oh, I overstepped the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, just...
But yeah, they do, like, you see people all the time, don't you?
Tell
me honestly what it's worth. $4.50. No, it's just too cheap.
Yeah.
You just asked me for my honest opinion.
I feel so tricked when people are like, no, honestly, I don't know what it's worth. That's why you're here. I don't know what it's worth.
Yeah.
And you say, we're like, well, it's definitely worth more than that.
Yeah. What? So you've thought about moving for the last 3 or 4 months, and you've not been on Rightmove at all, the whole time? Well, yeah, I've been on Rightmove, cool. So you must have seen houses similar to yours. Well, yeah. What price were they? Well, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rightmove's open on your browser over there. I can see it. Like, you know what I mean? No one gets an estate agent round and has not looked on Rightmove or done a Zoopla house price calculator to see what their house is worth, roughly. Because you always have an idea, don't you?
Yeah, you always have an idea. Even if you haven't actively looked at it, your bank gives you a estimation.
Yeah, I remortgaged 2 years ago and it was 380. So all I see in the media is market gone up and then it's gone down, so it might be worth the same.
Yeah. Yeah,
anyway.
Everyone knows. I don't do it on vows now. I used to ask people, so have you had any thoughts about what you want to list it for? But people got so taken aback by that question.
Yeah. Very direct. I wouldn't personally ask that question.
I am very direct, but I've realised people don't like it.
Yeah. The thing is, I imagine our the way we do our valuations would be very, very different.
Yeah.
Because I've been valuing so I started valuing at 21. So I've been valuing. I was a negotiator for 2 years and then valuing for 11 years now.
Wow.
But obviously my pictures evolved. But I wouldn't say the process of what I do on a valuation, when I did 500 plus valuations in a year, generally, my pitch was pretty much the same on every single appointment.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that process has changed now. I'm very factual, methodical, borderline salesy.
Yeah.
But I know what to say and when to say it. And I use my experience and my knowledge, and that comes across with my natural enthusiasm and likeness. You'll be very different, I think.
Do you find there's any, like, what trends do you see when you look back on your appointments, the business you've won, the business you've lost? Because when I look back on my 5 years now of experience, the clients that sign up with me are just the ones that get on with me. Like, every appointment's been different. You know, sometimes clients want to talk about everything but the house, and I have to pull it back to the house.
Yeah. So the top tip for valuing properties, the key is that sit down at the start of the appointment. It doesn't matter if you book the appointment yourself. It doesn't matter if you've done your pre-call and you've had a chat with them. Every time you walk into a valuation, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Ryan from so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Do we take the shoes off? Yeah, cool. Cup of tea? Yeah, great, thanks. So do you want to have a look at the house? I know a lot of agents will fall into trap. Yeah, of course, let's have a look around. I'd be like, I definitely want to have a look at your house, but first, can we just have a sit down, just reconfirm your position, what you're looking for? Because, I say just a couple of minutes, knowing full well that chat will be 15, 20 minutes before we start looking around the house. Because you can build rapport, you can understand their requirements, you can start gaining an understanding of what's going to float their boat. They talk about marketing, they talk about, you can tell they're very house proud, and then you just want to focus on your USP, which is videos. Or they want to talk about an issue they've had before, and you can talk about your experience, how you dealt with it. But that key 15, 20 minute at the start of the appointment is vital, and that's why I think I win so many listings.
It's a great tip, actually, because I went on an appointment once, and the client had something terrible happen, and they just needed the valuation, not to sell, but they needed it for another purpose. Had I not have sat down with them at the beginning and found this out, we'd have been looking around the house, they'd have been telling me about this, that and the other, with me not knowing the real context of the valuation. So I'd have been saying, oh, that's a nice bathroom, blah, blah, blah. And that would, in this instance, that would have been completely inappropriate, because I didn't have I didn't really know the client's situation, because we hadn't had that chat.
What you find as well is if you have that initial chat for 10 or 15 minutes to build rapport, to get an understanding of because it all starts about their move, their property, and then it evolves into a different conversation. What you find if you're valuing a house, do this on your next 2 appointments and see the difference. If you walk in straight away and go around the house with them, there's a barrier up from them. They'll talk about the property. This is the living room. We redecorated 3 years ago. We've got new carpets in 6 months ago. They'll talk about the property. Whereas if you've sat down for 10 or 15 minutes before, when you do the property tour, it normally the conversation just continues. This is the living room, and they'll ask about something else, and they'll start talking about something else whilst we're in the living room. We won't necessarily talk about what they've done with the property, which is important, but the rapport starts flowing, the barriers down. So it is vital. That is the key tip I'd ever give anyone as a valuer to do that.
No, 100%. It's good advice.
So I don't know how we got into that particular train of thought.
I don't know.
But we've been running for about 40 minutes now.
Is that it?
That's about it, mate. So we've got a good 20 minutes to go. I want to just change it. Unless you're done with agency chat, do you want to talk a little bit more?
Yeah, let's move on.
Can I show you a video quickly?
Yeah, sure.
It's not what you've been watching.
No.
So this is Burnley put this on there. Burnley Football Club put this on their Instagram and Facebook.
Time for you to meet today's possible January signings. And here they are. Player number 1 is an Argentinian ace who currently plays in France. And he's 35 years old. Please welcome Lionel Messi. Player number 2 is a Portuguese powerhouse. Just don't ask him about his statue. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. And last but not least, a super South African from the Belgian Pro League. And at only 22 years old, he's already represented and scored for his national side at both youth and senior levels. Yours for the signing, Lyle Foster. So, will it be player number 1, player number 2, or player number 3?
I thought it was great. I saw it. Fantastic.
Hats off to the Burnley media team. That is creative marketing.
Yeah. Like, they must have thought, when they must have sat down in a room and thought, right, how can we do this? Because, what's the other team that do it? Bristol City. Have you ever seen all their memes for all their players when they score a goal?
No.
I haven't got Instagram.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
On the screen, yeah.
They do, when their players score, they have a little meme for each player. They did anyway. I did follow them for a bit just for that because it was quite funny.
I love that.
Yeah. So
ideas like that. I can imagine that there are so many corporate places where you could put an idea like that forward. People are like, that's silly. That's silly. Yeah. We're not doing that. It's so silly.
Yeah.
But well executed.
Absolutely, smashed it, didn't they? Did a great job there. So and obviously it just blew up. Saw it straight away on Instagram, popping off indeed. As I said, we failure to prepare is prepare to fail, isn't it?
You
prepared a little bit, didn't you?
Interestingly, that segues very nicely into my what you've been
I was
watching.
worried, mate, because we're like 50 minutes in and we hadn't done a segue yet. So I'm glad that we've got it. Fire away with your segue.
So my from Burnley Club, mates. Burnley
Football Club,
Burnley
mates.
Football Club. Segues into my what you've been watching,
Great.
which is a film on Netflix called The Bank of Dave.
Okay. Where is it? Set in Burnley?
Set in Burnley.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Okay, cool.
Set in Burnley.
Yeah.
And Bank of Dave, so there's this northern guy called Dave who's owns a business and has money, and he gives loans out to a local community, and he's a community bloke, right?
Yeah.
And he's giving out these legal loans to local business owners, and he's a man of the community.
Yeah.
Anyway, he decides he wants to start a bank, so he hires this London lawyer who goes up to Burnley and thinks, what on earth am I doing?
Yeah.
Wins over the heart of the lawyer.
Yeah.
And then the whole film is just kind of like fighting the London establishment to open this bank, helping the community.
It's a true story.
It says it's loosely based on a true story.
Because what's the bank?
Well, I don't know what the real name of the bank is, but Dave was loosely based on a real person. And anyway, the end of the film, will I ruin it? I don't want to ruin it, but it features Turf Moor and Def Leppard in the final scene. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
So it's a little link into Burnley.
So I'm pretty sure that's how. I'm pretty sure that maybe not the co-op. It might be the co-op. I'm pretty sure that's how the bank, or was it Nationwide? Anyway, there's a big building society. That's exactly how they started, wasn't it? Well, that's how most building societies started. Local community, everyone pays in, gives money out, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that's.
I remember seeing it on an advert, and that's always a good thing. If you remember it on an advert, they'd obviously done well in their marketing.
Burnley Savings and Loans.
Oh, it's a place, is it?
Yeah.
What's the best bit of ad media you've seen, genuine ad media, in the last week that you can remember? First thing that you remember that you've seen.
Nothing that's memorable. It's interesting because I noticed the TikTok ads now, they're just, the less formal the ad, I think the better it performs.
Yeah. Do you think it's cool that you know how it works?
What?
So,
the ads?
for example, well, I'm actually not ashamed to say it. So I've been saying for the last 2 years that I'm going to go and get a hair transplant.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my receding hairline, I think it's the only thing that I genuinely don't like about my body.
Yeah.
Like I know it's something very, very small. It means a lot to me.
I'm always looking.
Yeah, it's just here. Like I just have to comb it over, and just don't like it.
Yeah.
And I saw this hair loss treatment rather than things as like a spray, and I did a bit of research on it. And there's a certain drug that I won't bore you with details, but helps fight back non-growth and then promote new growth.
Right.
And I clicked on one of these things and went through it. It's like 24 quid a month for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I thought, 300 quid rather than £3,000 to get a hair transplant, I may as well give it a go. Since I clicked on that ad, fuck me, like every single advert's now about hair loss. I'm like, guys, give me a break. I know it's bad, but just chill, man. And all it is I know exactly how it works. If they just got a retarget audience set up on Facebook and Instagram, because I've clicked on that, I'm now in their pot, and it just fucking targeted me every way. Oh, it's
I get it for teeth. I don't look up teeth.
Yeah, but at some point you've clicked on something about teeth straightening or teeth whitening or whatever it is, and now you're bombarded with it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's how ads work. Like if you click on something and your cookie's alive, do you go on segue on live content? That's not really a segue; it's the same topic. When you click on a website and it comes up with accept preferences, I always click now manage preferences and turn everything off. Yeah, turn everything off and then save and exit. They're always cheeky at the bottom because it says save and exit or continue and save in green and save and exit in white, and you always just press the green one, which means actually default, and you go back to it.
I'm always just accepting them all straight off the bat.
Really?
Yeah, because I do think it improves the experience if they know what you
yeah, that's a very good point.
like, and if they remember.
But then
your stuff.
I get loads more. I swore a lot in this episode. I apologise for that. I get so many more hair loss things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to trick the algorithm recently.
Oh yeah.
I saw a Gary Vee clip where he was like, I just type in random stuff into my algorithm to trick it. I was like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just type in, like, don't know.
He was on a
Brussels
podcast recently with Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, I saw it.
I listened to the first like 5-10 minutes and then turned it off because I was busy. But it was quite. He got quite emotional apparently.
Yeah, he did. He's good. Stephen Bartlett's a great interviewer, isn't he?
Very good. Like he's so intelligent, and the questions he answers, it just promotes. I think it takes people to a different place that they're not used to.
Why?
Because the questions that they're starting. I know what we did there. I knew what you did there, but I'm going to answer it anyway. It takes them to a place where they're not just talking about their latest promotion or their boxing match or their career. They're going deeper than that, and they don't normally get asked that by journalists. And Stephen's obviously not a journalist; he's a podcast host, but he's digging deeper into those things that's promoting that talk.
And also,
I really like.
And I think he's the perfect level of like successful enough in his own right to,
but humble at the same time, and not really like he's come from, not dodgy upbringing is the wrong word, like a challenging upbringing as well. He didn't come from money.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've heard him be interviewed on a podcast. I can't remember whose it was. Pretty sure it might be Tony Bellew, exactly that one. Tony Bellew's podcast. You heard that?
Yeah, it's his own podcast.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
It's called Tony Bellew is Angry. And he interviews some great people. Fantastic. He interviewed Stephen Bartlett on his podcast.
Right, okay.
And it was really good because the shoes on the other foot there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But he just, the latest episode it's worth a listen. I think he's only probably got about 20, 25 episodes. He does them like in blocks of 10 and then has a little break in blocks of 10.
Fair enough.
He's just done one with Paddy Pimblett, the MMA
Paddy
fighter.
the Baddie.
Paddy the Baddie, yeah.
Right.
He's just interviewing him at the moment. Well, he's just come out this week, so I'm listening to that as well, which is good. So, he's got some good guests on there. He's had Gary Neville, quite a few guys. Gary Neville's not a good guest, but...
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? This new format where you're able to kind of put people under the spotlight in a more informal
Michael
setting.
Bisping. He did Michael Bisping, the legendary British MMA fighter.
I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, he was the first world champion, UFC world champion from Britain.
Okay.
He was the only one until Leon Edwards won the light heavyweight title, I think it was. Or light, I don't know. Leon Edwards won a title a couple of months ago. He was the second British winner.
Right.
You're not a UFC fan, are you?
Not really.
Skip on, shall we?
Yeah, next. I've just seen the time and I've got an appointment at 11 o'clock.
Cool. We'll finish up on what you've been watching for me then.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
What have you been watching?
Right. This guy is awesome. Let me do a little intro for him. Which camera am I looking at? That one. His name is... Cut that bit, start again. I'll look at this camera. His name is Nuisance. He is a free solo climbing YouTuber with 15,000 subscribers and 618,000 views from the UK. Free solo climbing, if you didn't know, is free climbing.
Like free running, but climbing.
With no ropes.
Scary, man.
Mate, I've just got this clip here.
We put it on the screen.
Put it on the screen now. I'll send you where it is.
Absolutely not.
Makes you a bit sick watching it, doesn't it?
You know, you have that feeling sometimes where like your nuts kind of go back into your body because you're so nervous. That's what watching this makes you do.
So this is him climbing Dubai's second tallest building, the Marina 101, which is 425 metres high, with no ropes. He is free climbing. I mean, what the hell? I saw one of his videos, it popped up randomly, and I've watched about 10 of them now. And he does, that's the good bit which we'll show you. But at the start, he does a little background on it.
I just want to sleep.
Like,
I'm so tired, I'm so hot.
He does a little intro in it, talks about his kit, talks about his plan.
2 in the morning. Wow, 2 litres.
That's how he starts his videos and gets you going, and then he shows you go straight, and then he goes into it from there. how he gets up there and everything. Most of it's illegal. He's been arrested loads of times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's breaking and entering, isn't it?
That's terrifying, though, man. I've seen a few of these clips on the internet.
Yeah.
Do people fall? People must fall.
I
Fatally.
imagine there would be, yeah. I mean, should we Google that shit? I know we've got to go, but let's just we'll finish on a bang. Literally a bang of someone hitting the floor.
It's just so like
Free solo climbing.
the risk and reward there just seems like way out of whack.
Oh,
for
mate,
me.
it's literally one of the most Googled thing. Type in free solo climbing, it comes up free solo climbing deaths. Documentary or death rate. Death rate. Oh, well, it's not like that. That's mega. Like free solo climbers. If he hadn't had a rope, he'd been free soloing. Well, that would be a different conversation. Falling is pretty. Oh no, it's fine. That's just that. Doesn't say death rates there. I've gone back now. We'll have to find it. We'll
have
Google
to
this
find
bit out
out.
and we'll
Yeah, let's know in the comments some fire issue questions.
yeah.
I think we've got to wrap up, mate, and let's do next week. This has been episode 8.
Yeah, cool.
Episode
Thanks
9.
for watching. Thanks for listening. Check us out on socials. Links in the description. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Great. Thanks again, guys.
Peace.
See you soon.